Well, now we're going to dispel the myth. We're going to be talking about the cursor. The cursor is there attached to the very last thing that I placed in this design. It always is set to go clockwise, and I just want to explain a few basic controls for you. First of all, if I put my mouse in the middle of the floor plan and push the wheel into the body of the mouse, the cursor jumps wherever I put it, literally wherever I put it. Secondly, if I were to tell it to go to a wall, you can see it's orientated itself around in a slightly different way. So let's go and have a look at the cursor. The long tail is the direction it's going to place the next object along that direction, i.e. clockwise. It's also going to come into this room in that way. So if I were to hover my mouse over the tram line of the wall and right click, I can actually choose then to attach a cursor to, and it only sees a wall. So there I'm going to tell it then to jump to the wall. So whatever I choose next, I can double click and it will jump up and it will ask me which range, what color, etc, etc. But the cursor's moved along the wall. So if I were to double click again, it's put a second unit and again moved along the wall, and there it is, it's put a third base unit in for me. Now we don't just have to go clockwise. The power of the cursor is very, very strong indeed. It's controlled in the insert tab. In the insert tab, it has a red control center just here. Now I want you to be aware that anything to do with the cursor is a red color. Whereas if I was to be moving any object, these arrows are green. So they will go up, in, out, down and around. Whereas on the insert tab, they are always red. And that means, if you notice, that it says I have a planning direction. The planning direction can go anti-clockwise, so it immediately turns itself round. So that if I then came in and said WM100, enter, it's asking me to confirm my choice about the wall carcass, its plan view, and I again press enter on the keyboard, and again there is my cursor moving. So it's very, very quick. It's significantly quick, and it has some other advantages. First of all, I can turn it clockwise or anti-clockwise. But there are, if I move the cursor into the middle of the floor, there are a couple of extra hidden secret keystrokes for you. If I hold down the control and tap number 9, it now revolves through 90 degrees. You can also see it is available here by 90 degrees, and it confirms just there that it is control number 9. Secondly, I can turn on clock or anti-clock by holding down the control, the alt, and tapping the parentheses, and that literally drives it through 180 degrees. So very, very quickly you can turn the direction of the cursor. And let me just reassure you, it is eminently more superior than just going back with drag and drop. Drag and drop's fine, but it's not as accurate. First of all, I have to tap the wall to turn the door around, but the cursor joins it straight away. So there I can ask for a second wall unit to come and join it. It is extraordinarily good. But, and let me help you with it a little bit further, if I were to put my cursor perhaps in the middle of the floor, it's going anti-clockwise and it's going out that way. So I could immediately go control 9, selecting that, so that when I now come on and choose myself a B6, and I can say add and add, perhaps I could then go control 9 turn it around. I can reduce the depth of that base unit perhaps, and there I can choose that to be 300 mil, enter, enter, and I have, if you like, a very simple little island. And again, that could be lassoed and moved around anywhere I want it to be, anywhere at all within that room section. The cursor's remained where it is, but there's one more thought I have for you in regard to the cursor. Soon as I deselect any of the cabinets that I have chosen, you'll see that the cursor has never been turned off. It cannot be turned off. It's permanently active. So whatever you choose, it will go along that way and out that way. And there it is. Simple as that. Well, again, if I were to control 9 and double click again, it's put another unit on the back side of that. So it's an extremely efficient way of placing things. And remember, it reads the cabinet that it is attached to. So, for instance, if I were to just delete these two base units and wall unit, and you see how the cursors jump back to the wall, it's immediately programmed to do exactly what it asks on the tin. And if I then choose to add a built-under oven housing, press enter, choosing my oven to go in my oven housing, it's moved along the wall, so to speak, and I can come in now and say to it, right, I want a BH4 and add, in goes my base unit as an example. But where the cursor is very, very helpful is when I come to perhaps choose a gas hob. If I were to attach the cursor to this base unit and then choosing to go all catalogues, that means I can search right the way across the catalogues, all the way in this copy of version FX, and I choose HG1 and choose now add. You'll notice the hob has gone directly in the center of that oven housing, as opposed to if I were to drag it and drop it, what you'll notice is it snaps to one side, to the back, to the front. It's not impossible to get in the right position, but it does take a lot of manipulation. Control forward, I can choose then perhaps to give it 20 millimeters. I need to go control left arrow, it's giving me a choice, it's suggesting 1040. I'm interested in the 40 mil, half that and give it 20, and there it is, it's central. However, it would have been so much easier just to have used the cursor in the first place. And there it is. I'm just going to reattach it so it picks up the correct configuration. Double click, and if I were wanting then control 9 to turn it around, or I can go control parentheses and flick it through literally 180 degrees. Perhaps come in now and choose asterisk CAN1. I want to make it 600 millimeters to make the base unit underneath, and perhaps I might just, because it is a gas hob, go in there and choose the height of 850, and now double click or press this button to add. There's my cooker hood directly over my hob and my oven, and it's as simple as that. Come in here, hob and the hood in the correct place. All I'm looking for now is a worktop and plinth to go in underneath. So it's that simple. Cursor is king in this program, not drag and drop. Drag and drop's okay, but it has limitations as to what you can do with it. Cursor is definitely better. So I do hope you can enjoy and appreciate the cursor. Just to recap, the controls are push the wheel into the mouse. It moves the cursor wherever you want to. If you want to hover it over a wall, it will literally join you at that point. Reading either clock or anti-clock is controlled here in the insert tab, planning direction, clock or anti-clock, or I can choose Control Alt and parentheses to go in the opposite direction, or I can choose Control 9 to turn it through. Let me just show you what it will do. It will put whatever out of the wall because that's what it's programmed to do. Take a base unit out of the wall and I'm immediately being told I've got something clashing. And of course it's quite correct. So it's just knowing which way to read this cursor. It's as simple as that. So I hope that's taken some of the myth away where you've been struggling in the past. Please look out for further masterclasses. There are a lot more available.